again, welcome to Lymphatic Love. Today I want to talk to you about doing manual lymphatic drainage for the arm. When we're doing this, we'll be moving the fluid from the affected side, so where you had your surgery, either mastectomy or lumpectomy, and if you had lymph nodes removed, and we'll be moving it to the same side inguinal region, or we'll be moving it towards the opposite armpit. The only time I don't move it to the opposite armpit is if you still have a port in place, because just personally I don't like to go across the port. I like to just leave that alone and let it do its thing without adding any extra fluid over to that area. Other therapists that you may work with might do that, and that's fine too. That's just my own personal preference. So for today's purposes, what I'll do is we'll say that I had lymph nodes removed from my left shoulder or my left armpit. So that way we'll be moving it down towards the groin on the same side and then across to the armpit. Again, I wouldn't do the armpit if you still have your port in place. So starting off, I do like to have my patients take a nice deep breath in and use more diaphragmatic breathing technique. So when we take a deep breath in, we actually push our tummy out. And exhale, suck it back in. Inhale, push out. Let it out, suck it back in. Inhale, push out. Exhale, suck it back in. And I do a few of those just to get ready and let my body relax a little bit. Those are important to do throughout the day as well, because they do start to work the central lymphatics more and can help keep the lymphatic fluid moving, which is always helpful. So to start with, we're going to go to the collarbone, again on the same side that you had your surgery, and you'll be coming right above that collarbone into that little bit of a hollow space, and you're going to do gentle circles in towards your neck. I generally do 5 to 10 kind of repetitions here. I do that around anytime we're working on areas that have lymph nodes. That's generally what I tend to do. So after we work on the collarbone, next we're going to come to the opposite armpit. So this is your normal armpit, the side that did not have surgery or lymph nodes removed. Again, we're coming right in the pit, right where the hair grows is a good kind of point there. And again, we're doing gentle circles in towards you. So you're always bringing everything in towards the center when we're working in these initial areas. Next, what we're going to do is create a highway going from the area where you had lymph nodes removed over to the area that did not. So by doing this, we're going to make a highway across the top of the chest by doing a skin stretch right in that direction. Again, I'm going very gentle, not pushing very hard, just doing a very gentle stretch of the skin to get the superficial lymphatics to move and to start functioning a little bit better. When I'm doing the highways, I generally will do around 3 to 5 full passes. Okay, next we're going to come to the crease of the leg. So right into the leg crease, I always have my hand in a flat position like that. So right into the crease of the leg in the groin, and you're going to do a circular motion up towards the belly button. So I'm almost doing like a little scooping motion there. Next, we're going to make a highway coming down from the area where you had your lymph nodes removed down towards the hip and groin area on the same side. So a few different ways you can do this. You can use the same arm, same side, and do that skin stretch in a downward motion. You can reach across as well and stretch that skin down. If you do have trouble reaching, you can use a paint roller, a little mini one. I find them often at the Dollar Tree or something like that, and you can just roll down. I also do allow my patients who have difficulty reaching just to do an elongated stretch because it's better than not doing it at all. Another tool that you may have at home that can help is a baking spatula, where it can extend the length of your arm so you can reach a little bit easier and still do that skin stretch going down. So those are just a couple tips and tricks that I've done before. Again, I do that about 3 to 5 passes along the highway. So now we've made both of our highways. So to review so far, we've done collarbone, opposite armpit, highway across the chest, highway along the side, next we're going to start working on the arm. So we're going to come to the shoulder. Your opposite hand will come to the shoulder, and I generally try to cut my shoulder. With this, you're then going to do gentle circles in towards you again. And again, you don't have to push very hard at all. This is a very gentle technique that we're using. Next, we're going to come to the upper arm. So I start just above the elbow, and I'm going to do a stretch of the skin going in an upward motion towards the shoulder. You want to make sure that you're getting all around the arm. On all sides, front, back, sides, all of that good stuff. Especially if you tend to hold any extra fluid here, which a lot of patients do. So that's something, an area that you can focus on a little bit more. Next, we're going to come to the elbow. So on the elbow, we're going to come to either side around the bony parts that stick out on both the inside and the outside of the elbow. Here, you're going to do gentle circles going in an upward motion. So if you're able to, you can do like I'm doing and do them both at the same time by reaching your hand around. Now, if that's too hard for you, you can definitely do one side and then the other. Next, we're going to come to the forearm. With the forearm, you're going to start down towards the wrist, and we're going to do that same skin stretch that we did on the upper arm. Now we're just going up towards the elbow. Again, we're making sure we get all sides, get everything moving. Next, you'll come to the wrist and the back of the hand. I do these together. So if you're doing this on yourself, I usually will rest this in my lap or on the side of the armchair or something like that. But you're going to take your opposite hand, come across the top, cover that wrist and the back of the hand all at once, and you're going to do a skin stretch with just a half kind of circular motion. So my direction is always going up the arm, never towards the fingers. Next, we'll work on our fingers, and I have a couple different ways that I encourage patients to do this one. You can do kind of that same overhand technique and get them all done one time. Again, I'm doing a gentle circular motion, and then we don't forget about the thumb. The other thing you can do is just to massage each finger individually. So again, I start by the base of the nail, and I'm massaging down. Do that for each finger, whichever way you feel more comfortable doing. Again, I'm doing a few times on each finger. I do have some patients who have one finger that acts up more than the others. Other times it's all the fingers. So it all just depends on what your current situation is. If you do have any swelling in the palm of your hand, I always do a little massage there as well. So I tend to split it down the middle, and I take my hand and I'll just massage over to the one side, and then come back and go across to the other. There are other techniques that you can do here as well, but I'm going to keep this very simple for right now. I find that using easy techniques have been more beneficial with patients being more compliant, and if it's easier for you to do, then you're more willing to do it. So I've modified some of the techniques that I learned in my certification course to kind of adapt to everyday life and what tends to work for people more often. So after you do the palm, we're going to repeat everything in reverse order in order to do a final flush, as I like to call it, of the lymphatics with the drainage. So we would come back to the fingers, again, massaging each one, or all together, whichever way you prefer. And then we'll go to the back of the hand and the wrist. The forearm. Again, I'm not spending very much time when we're going in the reverse order. It's just, again, that final kind of flush. So just making sure that everything is flowing where we're wanting it to go. Elbow. So again, right along the bony parts that poke out on both the inside and the outside of the elbow. The upper arm. Getting all sides. Back to the shoulder. And then I generally end going over the highways again. So we'll come back to the side and we'll do that skin stretching motion. I'm going to try to stretch that skin in a downward motion going from the armpit to the hip and then across the top of the chest again. I don't go back to the armpit, the collarbone, or the groin just because I don't really see a whole lot of benefit when I have patients do that, so just to kind of shorten the time a little bit. But I do encourage them sometimes to end with some more of the deep diaphragmatic breathing. So again, taking deep breath in. Exhale, let the belly suck back in. So inhale, push out. Exhale, suck in. Inhale, push out. Exhale, suck in. Generally, I tell my patients it should take you about 20 to 25 minutes to perform the lymphatic drainage sequence. A lot of times in the clinic, I do perform the whole sequence twice, just to make sure we're getting a good flow. Sometimes if people count, they tend to go a little bit too fast and can finish it in like 10 or 15 minutes. But ideally, 20 to 25 is a good amount of time to spend. If you have one area that's more problematic than others, then we would spend more time on that area and not try to be as even throughout. But it all just depends on what your current situation is and which areas are more problematic for you. Again, if you've been to other lymphedema therapists in the past, they may have different techniques and different ways that they've taught you how to do that, and that's okay. The goal is that we're bringing everything up away from the problem areas where you're having more swelling and getting them to new locations to where it can hopefully drain a little bit better and drain properly. And again, this should never take the place of going to therapy. If you have a lymphedema therapist, always confide in them and ask them questions. But this is just another resource for you to watch at home and another video to look at to hopefully help you with your home programs. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm going to include my email in the description of everything today too, that way you can reach out that way if you would like. But that will be all for now. See you next time.